Hi, friends. I just got an email from Daniel, and I think that this is going to be a really helpful video because I know we went through everything really fast last class, and we also didn't even have everyone up on the drawing by the time I went over drawing navigation. So hopefully this video will help you get through the drafting package scavenger hunt assignment and also get a better feel for the structure of a Vectorworks drawing. And then also, because it's a video, you can pause and make notes and sort of figure out another way if it's helpful to synthesize the information that I went over so quickly on such a small screen in class. So I'm going to go ahead and open the Lysistrata. Look at all the things I've opened since that Lysistrata file. My life is so crazy. Okay, here we go. So I'm opening my Lysistrata drafting file in Vectorworks. I'm in 2019. It's a watermarked file. Yes, great, cool, whatever. Okay, so here I am. And the first thing I talked about was this navigation pane over here, and I'm going to make it center stage for you, and I can probably even zoom this in a little bit on the video. So your navigation panel, which will be locked under object info over here on the side, it contains all of the different types of drawing organization, all of the different panes, and the different types of pages. So the first of these little headings over here is your classes, and classes are a filing system for line weight, right? And they control specific structural components, like specific attributes of individual objects in the file. And I also use my classes to organize like scene by scenes where I'm duplicating the scenery in different locations. I use classes to turn it on and off per scene. And so that's why if you look through my scenic category in my classes, there's a bunch of different things that I want to be able to individually turn on and off depending on what part of the drawing I'm in, what view I'm looking at, or what version of the ground plan I want to export for the stage manager or the director, because there are different scenic arrangements for each scene. So those are all listed down here. And then there are a variety of alternate positions for things that may or may not even be part of my life anymore. So those are classes. The next layers stack is the design layers. So it looks like 3 little sheets of paper all stacked up on top of each other. These are all my 3D layers in the model space, and that's what's active right now. So right now I'm in a modeling space as opposed to a paper space, right? If you're thinking about AutoCAD, that's what that tracks with parallel to. Oops, sorry, my resource browser's jumping all up in the way. I'm gonna just pop this back into the side panel so that it'll stay put. Sorry, rearranging panes. This is my life. Okay, so now you can see what is going on, right? So if I switch my layer options up, those are a variety of options over here. So, oh, hi, Jen. I'll talk to her about that later, one of my high school students. So active only shows stuff on that active layer. So this is the layer that is visible right now. So this is just showing scenery if I go to active only. If I go to gray others, it'll show all of the other layers and highlight the layer that I'm on right now that is my active layer. Your active layer is the editable layer in any given moment, unless you set things up like show snap others, show snap modify others, in which case you'll be able to make changes on other layers even though they are not active. Okay, I like show snap others so that I'm drawing on the layer that I'm supposed to be on, and I can still snap to or pull perpendicular lines off of other layers in the file. So that's my scenery layer. I have a separate layer for soft goods for all of these pieces of fabric, right? I have a separate layer for lighting positions that is all of my truss, right? There's a lighting pipe out here in the front. And then there are side positions that are part of the light plot. And then the light plot itself, which in this case doesn't exist because I was the set designer. And so the lighting designer didn't use this file. She used it as a reference, but not as her actual design file. So those are all design layers. These are all 3D layers. So that means if I hit Shift C, it'll pop me into a 3D mode, and I can click and drag with my mouse and pull around this wireframe drafting, right? So I can kind of zoom in and see what all of these things look like in three-dimensional space, okay? This is a very basic sketch view, right? Wireframe. The other one that we talked about was OpenGL. So your render mode is determining what the objects in your set look like on screen. And so when you're in a design layer, you can choose a render mode up here at the teapot thing, right? So my render mode right now is wireframe. Another one I use a lot is OpenGL, which is a simplified 3D model. So when I click on that, now it's all quickly rendered. It's not a final quality rendering, but it's pretty close to what it would look like for me as I look around this actual set in 3D. And I can show you pictures from the show because it happened. It's over now. So that's your render modes over here, okay? You can also do like a hidden line drawing. We'll use that sometimes. It's going to re-render now. When we're doing plates, because a hidden line drawing is going to look like a drafting plate, just showing objects from the front. It's going to take a second on that one. Hold, please. Process. This is the status bar down here at the bottom. It's telling you how it looks, right? So that's just like a line drawing version. All right, I'm going to go back into my top plan view by hitting Command 5 on a Mac, and it would be, I think, Control 5 on a PC. So Command 5, and I'm back in top plan view, which is the looking down on the drafting view, okay? There are a variety of views you can snap to. They're in this little guy, which is the current view drop down. That is going to be much easier to see on a bigger screen than mine because it'll show you that you're in top plan view. But Vectorworks will also quickly snap to top view or front view or right view or bottom view. There's a very simple difference between top plan and top view. Top plan is the drafting version, and then top view is like actually looking down at the model from above. So if I switch from top plan to top view, it's going to do a thing, right? And it's going to now be a render of a 3D environment instead of a plan view. We're going to live in top plan, and that is what Command 5 will snap you back to, your top plan view. Okay, so those are your design layers. Those are all of these 3D layers. They stack visually. So if I move something like scenery above the light plot in the stacking order, now the scenery is sitting on top of the lighting positions. It's not ideal. So I'm going to push it back down closer to the floor plan where it belongs. Okay, so that's just your stacking order, and you do that by picking up this little piece of clear paper that looks like a sheet of vellum and raising or lowering it through the stack of layers. Okay, so then the next layer view that's super useful when you have received a file complete, like this one, is your sheet layers. So that's your third little tab. It looks like a tiny drafting with a title block. So these are all of the layers they use for print. So if I want to email a PDF, it's going to be these layers. These are my drafting plates, right? So this is the organized dimensioned version of life. So if I double click on any of these, it's going to bring me into that sheet layer. So now if I look over here, I can see this is my ground plan for Lysistrata. Okay, it's got my title block information over on the side. That's all a custom title block, like the one that I gave you guys. And then this is my annotated ground plan view in 1/4 inch scale, right? Printed on an ArchD sheet. Um, and it has notations. So this is where you would find information like what plate is an individual element of this drawing on, or all of your standard ground plan annotations, right? So this is stuff you should have already seen at some point before, like what a drawing label is, what a ground plan looks like, how you navigate a paper drafting package, but I'm going to go over it real quick again. So if I'm asking you, where would I find the drafting of the stairs, right? They're right here. So I'm going to zoom in on that so you can see what's going on. So there's the stairs. Where would I find the plate that shows the detail about these stairs? And I would look to this drawing label, which is pointing at the stairs, right? They're also labeled with an annotation text on the object. And this drawing label is pointing at the stairs, and it has two notations, right? Two elements. The top one is my drawing number. In this case, I'm calling the stairs item B. So the stairs are drawing B. And the bottom number is what plate of the drafting package you can find that drawing on, okay? So 3 is plate 3, and so that'll be the elevation drawing that includes the stairs. So now if I want to get detailed information about this, like an isometric drawing of it, then I would go to plate 3 and look for drawing B. So let's go to plate 3, right over here in the sheet layers. I can zoom out now. And if, oh look, here it is, down on the bottom, stair unit on casters. So these are the two draftings that I provided. I provided a top view and a side view, which should give my technical director all the information that he needs in order to build this stair unit, okay? So my top view, my side view, all of the relevant dimensions, the idea that the notation that this should be on casters, and that the stair unit height should land one step below the height of the boxcar, right? All of that is notated here, okay? Similarly, I have a bunch of other scenic drafting elements, right? So the rest of this plate is a bunch of boxcar draftings, which is that major scenic unit. And you'll notice as you look at it, this is just a sidebar, but you'll notice as you look at it that it has these red lines around it. That means that those draftings should be updated. I'm going to see what happens when I update these drawings. It means that a change has been made since the original drafting. So I'm going to pop this guy back in underneath, or do we want to be above? No, I want to be underneath the object info. Okay, it's not going to play nice with me, so I'll just pop it in above the object info for now. Great. On my sidebar. Let's go think about that. All right, so my navigation is now here. My object info is talking about individual selected objects, anything that's selected. So I've selected these by holding shift and clicking, and then I'm going to click update. Yeah, some stuff moved around, right? That is not as useful a view as the previous one. So don't update the drawing. It'll confuse you and mess up your life later, right? Look at what happened over here. This is bad now. Undo. I don't know if I can. No, can't even. Undo? 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 No, it doesn't want to. It's like, it's too late. We're in the future now. Oh, well. There's a newer version of this package that's probably cleaner, but we're going to not worry about that right now. So don't update your drawing because it made it worse. Made my drafting worse. Game stalls elevation. This is plate 4. So these are my 3 rolling units. Similarly, don't update these drawings because it's going to get worse for you probably. And then over here, I have round platforms. I have plate 6, fabric surfaces, which is blank because I've never drafted them. They were all pulled from stock and I didn't mess around with that. And then I have this scene by scene drafting over here on plate 7. So this was mostly to help my director and stage manager understand where the various scenery would be placed at the different moments in the show, right? So it's just a thumbnail version of a ground plan and then a rendered view so that it could be quickly repaired so that they could at a glance see where the set would be, what that might look like. Okay, so that's my plate 7. Here are 2 template plates. Down here I have my scene by scene 8.5 by 11 sheets. Again, for my stage manager, I created these that would print on regular printer paper and that have dimensions so that she could tape out the scene by scene placement of the various objects. So that's all down here in the bottom of my sheet layers. The only other so these are viewports, we'll talk about that later. And then over here on the side are saved views, okay? And you can get to your saved views up here as well. And these will basically fly you through the drawing to a specific location. So for example, I created saved views in this drafting package for each of my scenes. So like scene 2, and it's going to drop me into that. And that was so that it would be easy for me to quickly turn on and off all of the scene-based layers and classes. So each of these saved views is a model view at that particular scene orientation. So it's basically a shortcut to turning on and off the layers and classes that I would need. Okay? And that was also where we got this center stage viewpoint version that I showed you guys in class, where it was like, we're in a video game. That 3D navigation of being in the video game idea is down here in this tool set that is, what it'll highlight it and see, visualization. And so if I use the walkthrough mode, now I have the ability to kind of turn around, right? Oh boy, it's wild. It's going crazy. I can look up and down, and I feel like I'm in a VR headset a little bit, just a little bit. The translate view, right, is gonna let me kind of pull forwards and backwards, go left and right, okay? I can also control this on the wheel of my mouse that I have so that my brain doesn't explode. So that's walk through and translate views, rotate view. Flyover is that Shift-C tool that I use most frequently when I go into a 3D mode, so that's called flyover. Let's see, what other things can I help you with in terms of drawing navigation? Let's do one more. So I want to go back into top plan view, so I'm looking down at the drafting model, so that's Command 5 in Vectorworks, and this is not helping me at all, right? I'm now active on the scenery layer. That's this check marks. You'll also know what layer you're actively drawing on up here when you have a bigger screen than this. This will read out what layer is active right now, in this case, the scenery layer, in these little drop-down menus, and what class you're drawing on right now, which at this point is practicals, which is a dumb layer to be drawing on. I usually want to draw in none unless I have a specific class. Anyway, this is now top plan view. So one of the questions that I know is on your scavenger hunt is, what class is the lighting truss in? Okay, I'm on the scenery layer and I have show snap others selected. So if I try and click on this lighting truss, it is not going to play nice with me, right? It's not going to let me select that object. So if I don't know what class it's in and I don't know what layer it's on, right? If I wanted to like do something about these doors in the physical space, or if I wanted to mess with the chairs, don't mess with the chairs, never mess with the chairs, then I would have to find a way to actually get to what layer they're on. I don't know where they live in. I don't know where they at. I don't know their life. So I'm going to try and pick up this lighting truss. And the way I'm going to do that to get around the searching and finding and whatever is I'm going to right click on the truss, and I could activate the class, right? Makes the class, and these are all very useful objects, right? So makes the class of the object under the most recent mouse click active, even if that object is on a differently scaled layer, on a gray layer, or belongs to a gray class. Activate layer, same idea, right? So that would make that the active layer. But the quicker thing I'm going to do is force select. Selects any object under the most recent mouse click, even if it is in a differently scaled layer on a gray layer, belongs to a gray class. So that's what I want in order to pick up that truss. The reason I picked it up is because now I can go over here to the object info, and the object info could be on this data panel or render panel, which is not going to help you in life right now. We care the most about shape. So each object on a Vectorworks drawing has dedicated object info. Most of the time, if it's like a rectangle, that object info is going to be like, how long is it? How tall is it? What height would it be? What height is it sitting at on the ground? That kind of stuff, right? And then where is it placed in the world of this drawing relative to a drawing origin? So in this case, you've got an X and Y position, that's where it's placed relative, where its insertion point is placed relative to the origin, a whole bunch of stuff you don't need to worry about. And that its Z height, which is how vertically high it is off the ground, is 20 feet. So it's 20 feet above the ground. Great. But it also has the valuable information over here of the class that this object is in, arch, lighting positions, and the layer it's on, lighting positions. And it's made those two active. So now they're both present. So hopefully that helps you. If you're trying to figure out what something is called, or I'm asking you about a specific object, the place you want to look is in the ground plan, the labeled ground plan. That's a sheet layer. So you come over here, you go to the ground plan, and you can look at the drawing label, both the text and these reference labels, to figure out what the heck I'm asking you about, where it is, what's going on, count the number of things, what is this? Oh, it's a multicolor chiffon backdrop. Everything is pretty well labeled in that respect in this drawing set, but you always can do more, and I can always do more, and that is the life of a designer, right? You can always perfect your drafting, but at some point you stop and you print it and you move on. So this is a relatively complete set, which is why I gave it to you. So if you have any specific questions, shoot me an email. I'm happy to either create a quick video for you or go over it with you before class on Monday. I'll usually be in the lab by about 9. So if you want to just drop in early with specific questions, I'm happy to help you out. Great, awesome. Okay, I'm gonna save this video for you and send you it through Blackboard as soon as I can.